and you don't feel like it's lasting, that it's always there for you. You feel like you have to keep working for it and start back up the engines again in order to get the next manifestation in.
Welcome to the Words of Wisdom podcast. This is the place to be to raise the consciousness within in order to create a life and business of ease, flow, and freedom. This podcast offers inspiring stories, strategies, and special guests to help you become your most aligned self. I am Minerva Maharaj, a former NBA Toronto Raptors dancer turned ICF accredited spiritual life coach, founder of Goddess of Wisdom Spiritual Life Coaching, and Star Seed Academy coach training. My soul's mission is to show you the impossible is truly possible. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Let's get to awakening your soul's wisdom.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Words of Wisdom. So glad you're here with me today. I'm excited to share this topic with you. 2 reasons why you are constantly in feast and famine with your manifestations. You have that manifestation hit, it shows up, the client, the money, the opportunity, the relationship, and then it dwindles down, it empties out, it finishes, it cuts off, and then you find yourself trying to build yourself back up again to work your manifestation tools and tricks to call it in again. And you don't feel like it's lasting, that it's always there for you. You feel like you have to keep working for it and start back up the engines again in order to get the next manifestation in. And you're sick and tired of the cycle. Is why you're listening and press play to this episode. And I also have something special for you at the end that will help you to actually break this cycle. So make sure you stay tuned. But to start, what are the 2 reasons why you are in the constant cycle of feast and famine with your manifestations? So, number 1, the reason you are in this cycle is that your dominant state of being is anchored in lack. Your dominant state of being is one of lack. So, what does that mean? You could be doing the affirmations, doing the work, taking actions. Maybe you have a mentor or coach. I really hope you do. Even if it's not me, you should have one. I believe everyone should have one. If you want to level up, if you want to get there faster, I do feel there's that support. But that's a side note. You're doing all the things, taking the action, you're visualizing, you're meditating, you're trying to do it right, you're doing all the things. But you may be doing it, not to say you may be doing it on the surface, it's a surface thing. But I do believe that most of us who are in this world, in this community, are doing some deeper work. You're doing the inner work, you're doing the long-term work. But at the core, as the platform, the dominant operating system of you is one that is anchored in lack. It's conditioned in lack. So even if you go ahead and do the affirmations and the journaling and all those things and you feel really good and you have that high, you have that clarity, then you feel like you have that drop. You have that drop where you come back to that place of lack. Where at the core, that the dominant part, the part that's emitting the strongest frequency, the one that is most practiced within you, is one that says, it's not enough. I'm not enough. It's never enough. So the dominant operating system of you, the one that overrides the affirmations, the journaling, the visualization, all those things, that takes over and kind of like bulldozes all the other thing. And you kind of feel like, well, I just worked myself up there and now it's not there anymore, or it's not working. Because at the core of you, the dominant state of you, the way you think, feel, act, that is anchored in lack. Whereas where you need to be operating from in order to break the cycle of feast and famine is operating from the core of who you truly be. So there is the core of who you naturally are when you came into this world. who you are as a soul being, who you are as an energetic being, who you are free from conditioning, free from limitation, free from human training, human conditioning. Who you are free from that is who you are at the core. And who you are at the core is this infinite, expansive being. And you're disconnected from that truth. So when you are disconnected from that truth, you are connected to a lie and quote unquote a current truth, what feels more real, what feels more alive, what overrides everything because it's more practice is that you're not enough. It's not enough. It's never enough. What I have around me is not enough. When am I going to get there? You're noticing more lack than you are aware of abundance. So the dominant state of being is one that is anchored in lack. The core beliefs is one of lack. Your actions are driven by deep down lack that what if this is not enough? I'm running out of time. There's never enough time. I need to do more. Well, I'm not getting the results I want, so I need to overwork. I need to be in overdrive. I need to hustle. Those are all examples of operating from lack. So that's the number one reason why you're in this cycle of the highs and low of manifestations, because at the core, you're operating from the dominant state of being of lack and not from who you truly are. The second reason you're experiencing these highs and lows, the feast and famine of manifesting, is that you look outside of you for evidence. Your highs, your wins, your celebrations, the moments of feeling most proud and like you got it is when that next client comes in, when there's money in the bank, when a client or a family member compliments you, when something tangible shows up, when there's proof, when there's evidence outside of you. And yes, that's all great. Yes, that feels good. Of course, that feels good. And yes, we should welcome it. We should receive that, right? But it should not determine whether we're on the right track or not. It should not determine that we've got it. It should not be the only high we experience. It should not be the thing that makes us feel high, quote unquote high. When you're like, oh my God, just on fire. You're like sitting on top of the world and you're like, everything is working. It's all working out. Because guess what happens when that doesn't show up? When a client pulls out, when you're on a call and someone doesn't sign up, or your boss gives you bad feedback, or a date doesn't work out, whatever the thing is, when that thing is not there anymore, the compliments, the money, the opportunities, the people, the clients, guess what happens? You drop, you're on a low. And if it's not there for quite some time, you start feeling like shit about yourself because you're basing it working based on something external, based on something that's tangible. Oh, there's proof I'm on the right track based on something that you can only see and something that's just momentarily showing up. A client, money, an opportunity, a compliment, those things are moments in time. They're not something that happens every second of every day. And so if you go back into the place of defeat, go back into the place of worry, if you find that you're always on that cycle of highs and lows, even in your mood, in your emotions, in your energy, in your sense of hope, in your sense of motivation, is because you're basing everything on everything outside of you. You're basing it on evidence. You're basing your validation on something external. And so when you do that, it affects how you show up, who you be. It affects your thoughts. You start questioning yourself. It affects your actions. Okay, maybe I need to go do more. oh, maybe I'm just gonna, maybe you do come the opposite where you just totally like give up or do less. You're in defeat. I don't want to do anything. A hideaway. And mind you, I have moments like that. We all do. But you just want to have a moment, not moments. It affects you and who you be and how you show up. And it's going to end up being, and it's going to come back again and come back around. You probably muster up that energy, muster up that momentum, muster up, you take that time off, you have a meditation, you have a download, and then you take it and run with it. And you have another hit, you get another high, you get another affirmation. Great, it's working. And then you get that crash again because it's not sustainable and it's not real and it's not based on the real things. It's not based on truth. So I hope this is resonating with you. So these are two reasons. There are other reasons, but these are my top two reasons as to why you're experiencing the highs and lows and the feast and famine in manifesting. You're operating from a state of being that is anchored in lack, and you're looking outside of you for evidence that it's working and that it will work again. So as I mentioned, there are more reasons as to why this cycle continues. And if you're tired of this cycle, you want to break this cycle, I have something exciting for you. It's my gift to you. It's a free live masterclass happening Wednesday, September 21st, called Constant Creations, so that you can finally start breaking that cycle of feast and famine, the highs and lows of manifesting, where you manifested once or twice or three times, and then you go into that crash and you got to muster up all that energy and to do it all over again. And then you're wondering, when is it going to happen again? But instead, if you're someone like me who wanted this, where I wanted solid, steady creations in my life. So that's my platform. It keeps rising. And then from that, I could keep creating more and more from that. If you're like me and you want constant creations, then I invite you to come to my live masterclass. Again, it's happening Wednesday, September 21st at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And here I'm going to teach you my 2 core principles to use to create any reality on repeat. These core principles go into any manifestations that I have created in my life. And so I'm going to teach you my top 2 core principles so that you start creating your manifestations on repeat and you have something to draw back to for anything you want to create now, next month, next year, and years to come. So go to my site, goddessofwisdom.ca, to sign up for a spot to attend live on Wednesday, September 21st. It will be live just this one time. So grab a seat and we're going to meet on Zoom on Wednesday, September 21st at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I really hope you all enjoyed this episode and got something out of it. Be sure to leave a review, leave a comment, and if you share it on stories, we have an exciting surprise for you, which I'm now going to mention, that if you leave a review and if you share it on Instagram, screenshot this episode and tag me at Goddess of Wisdom Coach, you get $111 credit to use towards any of my live programs. It could be private coaching, group coaching, masterminds, VIP days. You get to use that credit. So leave a review and share it on Instagram and tag me at Goddess of Wisdom Coach so I can share it and celebrate you and then be sure to give you that credit. So thank you all for listening. Thank you so much for the support. And I really hope this resonates with you. I hope to see you soon at my next masterclass.